The Florida heat pressed down like a living thing, thick, wet, alive, turning the air into something you could almost chew. The driver gripped the wheel of the old Civic, windows cracked because the AC had died somewhere north of the city. The radio droned a forgettable country song, the kind that blurred one into the next after 3 long hours on the road. Then it glitched. A sharp burst of static tore through like paper ripping, followed by something thinner, sharper. Not noise, but a thread of sound, high and precise, slipping between the stations like a knife between ribs. The driver frowned and tapped the dial. Nothing. The song struggled to return, then died. Outside, the world went silent. No insects, no wind through the pines, only the low hum of tires and the faint tick of the engine. Up ahead, a turnoff appeared. No sign, no marker, just a narrow crack in the tree line. The wheel turned beneath the hands before the mind caught up. The car slipped onto the side road as if invited. The asphalt was cracked, weeds thrusting up like desperate fingers, trees crowded close, branches knitting overhead until daylight flattened into a dull gray haze. The road felt too long. The driver checked the odometer, 2 miles, then 3. But the building appeared anyway. An old convenience store, faded red and white paint peeling like dead skin, windows streaked with years of dirt. The lot was empty except for fresh tire marks cutting through the dust, parallel, recent, as though someone had just left or was still waiting. The driver killed the engine. Silence rushed back, heavier now, pressing like water at the bottom of a well. Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed with a sick, uneven hum. The shelves were stocked but wrong, colors bled, fonts twisted just enough to make the eyes itch. Cans bore no brands, only faded ink from another decade. The driver walked down an aisle, boots scuffing on linoleum that should have echoed louder. Then the sound came. A radio, static-free, calm, almost soothing. Behind the counter sat an ancient boombox with a big silver antenna. A voice came through, male, even-toned, the sort you'd hear on a late-night weather report from the edge of the world. It was reciting a list of names. Not loudly, not urgently, just steady, one after another in a flat, patient rhythm. The names rolled on, smooth and unhurried. The driver leaned on the counter. They weren't familiar at first, just ordinary names drifting through the stale air. But the longer the voice spoke, the more it settled something inside. The tension from the long drive eased. For the first time in hours, the driver felt okay, almost relieved, as if something heavy had finally begun to shift. Then a blink. The thought slipped away. Something was wrong. The aisle stretched longer than the building should allow. Lights flickered out of sync. The air had gone too quiet. No coolers, no traffic, nothing but the voice. The driver backed away slowly. The voice stayed calm, patient, like it had all the time in the world. The driver pushed through the door and nearly ran to the car. The engine roared too loud. Tires kicked up dust over those fresh marks that weren't theirs. Back on the highway, the world snapped into focus. Insects screamed, wind whipped through the windows. The sun beat down normally. A glance in the rear view, no side road, just unbroken trees and empty blacktop. The driver exhaled, laughing shakily. Heat stroke, bad reception, that was all. An hour later, the radio crackled back with the country song. It was turned up, filling the cabin. Then it glitched, static, that same thin thread. The voice returned, same cadence. The names began again. The driver's hand shot toward the knob, then stopped. Something was missing. It sat deep in the gut, the way you know you've forgotten a face you should remember with your whole soul. The names felt familiar now, like fragments from dreams or old photographs, but every time the mind reached, the thought dissolved like smoke. The voice kept reciting, steady, learning. The driver sat frozen, knuckles white as the names rolled on outside. The highway blurred past, normal as ever inside. The silence between each name grew heavier, filling spaces where something important used to live. The radio was not turned off. It couldn't be. Not yet. Not until the reason the next name mattered was remembered. The voice continued, patient as the long, flat road ahead, and somewhere behind in the shimmering haze, a narrow turnoff waited, quiet, unmarked, ready for the next set of tires.